Okay, let's review. In the first truth, we see that God created us to be in relationship with Him. But in the second truth, we learn that our sin separates us from that relationship with God. And really, your daily life probably proves that every day you're pulled further and further away from God. Now, here's the thing. God wasn't satisfied with this arrangement. He did something to destroy sin, and He did it in the person and the work of Jesus Christ. In Ephesians chapter 2, we read this, "As for you, you were dead in your transgressions and sins." And it says in verse 4, "But because of His great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ even when we were dead in transgressions." And look at what it says next. It says this, "It is by grace you have been saved." Look at that word, grace. This is what we're going to talk about in our third truth. A little bit later on in Ephesians 2, Paul writes this, "This is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God." That's what grace means. Grace means gift. It is the gift of God, not by your works, so that no one can boast. Let's take a look at our booklet. Here's truth number 3. It's this, that Jesus alone can bring us to God. It is by His grace, not by our works, that we can deal with this sin problem. John 3:16, probably the most famous verse in the whole Bible, explains it. "For God so loved the world," He wanted a relationship with us, "that He gave His one and only Son, Jesus. For God did not send His Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through Him." So it's really important that we understand Jesus. Let's look at this together in the booklet. Who is Jesus? The Bible teaches that Jesus was actually God Himself in human flesh. Now, some religions acknowledge that He was a noble man, a good teacher, or even had some divine qualities. But the Bible teaches that Jesus was fully God. Well, what did Jesus do? This is what He did. He took the punishment for sin that we deserve. It's our sin that separates us from God. And God can't just ignore it or sweep it under the rug. It's a big deal, and someone has to pay for it. And that's why Jesus went to the cross. Jesus lived a perfect, sinless life and didn't deserve any punishment. But on the cross, He took all of the wrath that we deserve, and He paid the penalty in full for us. Jesus did this to remove the sin that separates us from God and to make a relationship with Him possible. And this is truth number 3. Jesus alone can bring us to God. Now, why don't you take some time as a group now and talk through these questions for discussion? And if you still have more questions about Jesus and what He did, make sure to go to our website, rednotes.org/101, and link to some really important information there on the person and work of Jesus Christ. We'll see you in the next video.